All right. Thanks for joining us on TVC Breakfast. It is the D-Day tomorrow, the 25th of February, as Nigerians will troop out to vote for the presidential candidate of their choice. The Independent National Electoral Commission has already begun distribution of sensitive and non-sensitive materials to states and local governments. The Electoral Act, which guides the electoral process, will play a major role in ensuring the elections are free and credible, and all the rules are followed till the end of the procedure. President Muhammad Buhari has also cautioned Nigerians to be law-abiding, as anyone caught doing otherwise will be dealt with. The president says he's bent on delivering credible elections before bowing out of office. That is the crux of our discussion next. So joining us now is a lawyer and public affairs analyst, Ahmed Abass. It's nice to have you join us this morning.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you for having me.
Right, we're counting down now. It's less than 24 hours. Nigerians will be, still about 24 hours because voting will commence at about 8:30 tomorrow, so about 24 hours. Nigerians will go out there to exercise their franchise, and all the build-up since last year for campaigns and all of that will all get to a crescendo tomorrow. If you view the build-up to the election, when it comes to the anxiety in the air, the feeling of what people are saying, the scare, and all of that, what do you make of it, though?
Thank you. I think a lot of people are actually looking forward to this election because there are so many anomalies within the system, be it economic, security-wise, unemployment. Those are issues that concern so many Nigerians, and I have never seen Nigerians so passionate about a particular general election the way they have been this time. I think a lot of people are waking up. You can also see the Obi movement. It's like let's
leave the political parties and all of those movements out for today.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yes. So I think people are actually eager to cast their ballot. They want to make a difference. I think a lot of people believe that Nigeria can only get better when we all wake up and make our contribution in terms of going out there to vote. And you can see when the issue of PVC, collection of PVC, you can see the energy, you can see the passion, you can see the hunger. So for me, I think this election, there's going to be a large turnout of people.
Yeah, people always talk about large turnout, and eventually we don't really see that. They always say so. Even in the U.S., when they said, oh, during the Trump election, there's going to be a large turnout. Well, it was the turnout, but still a great chunk didn't really show up. They talk about youth coming out. Youth show a lot of enthusiasm before the election, but eventually it's usually anticlimax.
I think that has to do with the cynicism, within a segment of the society that do not believe that their vote will count. Most times, because of the history of deficit of, trust in the electoral system over the years where, people churn out electoral results. I know there's a joke where a comedian said, I think there were 3 people that were arguing, a Japanese and American, that who has the best electoral system. The Americans said their own, the Japanese man said their own, and the Nigerian said, well, I must contribute to this debate. And he said that in Nigeria we have the best electoral system because we churn out results even where there is no result. And I think that experience in the time past has actually made people somehow cynical.
The people now believe in the PVCs now, and yet we had a huge problem that is still being resolved in the court. The matter has been appealed in the court, where INEC itself, by its own confession, said it did not reconcile its platforms before releasing results. Do you anticipate any kind of fear now, because we are going to have this kind of experiment for the first time with beavers, on a national scale?
For me, I've always been a forward-looking student, that most times a new system that you are introducing can never be perfect from inception. Like a man said, he said, if the perfectionists were to be in the forefront of the aviation industry, that man will still be on the floor by now. Because the first set of planes that we actually, designed, I'm sure that if you compare them with what we have today, a pilot said, he said the planes of those days were real machines. He said, but he said the planes of these are toys. That's what the pilot said. He said what we are flying these days is just a toy. He said those days they were machines, that when you are flying it, you will know you're actually flying a machine. He said, but these days it's just like,
because you have to put a lot of effort.
Yes,
you are conscious that you are carrying a big
exactly.
Yes,
but now just a button here and there.
But now this is say you tamper with some buttons and you go and relax. So. No system is perfect, and we must continually be hopeful in whatever system we are bringing. That's even if they are going to test drive the system now. We also believe that whatever be the lesson they've learned from the result of the case that is in court now, they should bring it to bear to be able to reduce and mitigate whatever be.
Experiments can be very very good, but they can be very costly too, especially if it is about electoral integrity.
Yes.
So if you had the kind of thing that happened in Osun on a national scale,
yes.
You have it in one state, you have it in another state, you have it in another state, and you have it in another state, and people start complaining. INEC says that, oh, this is the result, and some people say, no, you have not reconciled your platforms, and so on and so forth. If things like that happen, the experiment may not just be an experiment, it may become a disaster.
But I think those...
It's not the same thing as an airplane where you have just maybe 50 people on a plane, but you're talking of hundreds of millions of people, whose lives and futures are at stake, and who have short fuse when it comes to how the matter is going to be resolved.
What I've come to observe so far is that INEC usually out of circle elections, that is elections that are holding outside the general circle, usually look forward to such elections because it gives them room to gauge their preparedness, the shortcomings and the challenge, and so that they can be able to fine-tune whatever be the challenges and the difficulties they encounter in those out-of-circle election, and they use it to fine-tune the general election. So I'm hopeful that whatever lessons they've learned from the Osun, they would try as much as possible to ensure it does not occur during this general election, because they must be conscious that, that would be a disaster.
Yeah, but if you look at INEC, from, in fact, since 1993, and how they have metamorphosed. It used to be NEC at the time, it became NECON.
We started from FEDECO.
Exactly, FEDECO. FEDECO those days, and so on. But if you look at the development or metamorphosis of INEC up until now, how impressed are you the way INEC has,
I must commend INEC because they are constantly trying to rejig their system to make it more contemporary. Of course, some few years ago, we were talking about, e-transfer, the transmission of electoral votes, because the challenge is that when you are transmitting results manually from one polling unit to one ward, from one ward to that is usually where the abracadabra takes place. You sign a paper at the polling unit, by the time it gets to the ward.
No, it's the right result. The right result.
To the extent that I think an electoral commissioner was trying to read what he's supposed to.
What he wrote himself, what he said to have wrote by himself, he couldn't comprehend it.
It became an abracadabra. A professor was trying to. So, but you can see that they've decided to say, let us transmit our results electronically, which at that point becomes a public this thing. And I think we are getting there. We may not be perfect, but I commend them because INEC has evolved over the years.
We are trying to see what will happen in collating and accessing the electoral data from the hinterlands. Usually they say it is the areas that are difficult to reach that are used to pad the electoral numbers, especially in the riverine areas. Like in my state of Delta, they say that usually they look at the numbers from the mainland, and then they want to, when they know the shortfall, then they start conjuring crustaceans, fish, hippopotamus, all of those from there. All of them start voting. So the numbers now pile up to make the difference. Now, hippopotamus doesn't have the thumbprint. It doesn't have a human face. So beavers will not recognize them. So some people are saying this beavers experiment is going to be a very interesting thing in certain parts of the country where, people have been using numbers of people that didn't exist. I remember in Ondo one time during the elections that Mimiko eventually won. They used they used me as a voter there. They used my column in the Nation, the picture there. They put it there as one of the voters in Ondo. And I said, I've never lived in Ondo before. I don't vote in the. How did they make me a voter? A voter. I was one of those in the list of those people who voted for Agagu. And I didn't vote. And Mike Tyson was also there. He was punching all the way from America. So there were all those things that were used, which were able to happen because we didn't have technology like beavers. So we're very interested to see how all of that will pan out now when it is only what the system recognizes, only who the system recognizes that
gets to vote.
Yes, we see. I think people should rather parties should concentrate their energy towards formulating manifestos, policies that will endear them to the people. Because if you keep thinking that it's going to be business as usual, it is not going to be. Because if you are intelligent enough to know that at a time that PDP ran riot in Southwest and captured all these states, if you listen to Professor Yemi Osinbajo as to how they recovered those states back, when in states where they were overvoting and all the rest of them, that he traveled to UK to look for, fingerprint experts, and that the man they contacted to lead the fingerprint, this thing, laughed at the number of ballot papers that were going to be subjected to fingerprinting. And the man said, in my entire 40, 50 years of doing fingerprinting, the highest number I've actually done is about 4,000. So talk less of, tens of thousands. And the man said, okay, I'll think about it. And they had to assemble, including going to the Metropolitan Police to request for assistance in being able to unravel the mystery of the abracadabra elections. So what I'm trying to say is that
use technology
has actually advanced.
To defeat fraud.
Yes, technology has actually advanced. So if there are people on the other side who insist, who will unravel it, the technologies are available. So rather, the parties should concentrate more effort in trying to present credible candidates, intelligent candidates, smart candidates, and sell your manifesto so that people will vote for you. But trying to think you can smuggle in votes is going to be a very, very, very difficult task in this time. And as the technology gets better, the system gets better, it will be very difficult.
We saw in the last time they're using incident reports. We're not going to have that.
Incident forms.
No.
There will be no incidents
at all.
There will be no incidents this time. Because they used it in Benin, Edo election. And some people say that they used the incident forms to rig part of the election. Yes. But there's no incident this time.
The election is very straightforward this time around. It's either you are accredited to vote or you are not accredited to vote. And now, usually it used to be that, if the accredited now, what it is that the accredited voters that will be the determining factor as to the number of people that can actually vote within that thing.
Because they used to, they will spoil the machine so that you can have incident
exactly.
votes. So and then, or like that the machine is not working. So you can have incident reports.
Exactly. And then any kind of report can be the incident.
Yes. Then you have incidental voters.
So now the law has actually taken care of it. You are accredited, yes, you vote. If at the end of the day we discover that the number of voters is more than the accredited number, we cancel it and we go back to square one again.
And start all over again.
Start all over again.
Now let's talk about election integrity and validation. We were talking behind the cameras earlier on, and there was the issue of election observers coming from around the world to, monitor what's going on here, and so on. But when elections are taking place in the developed world, Africans don't get to, either from Nigeria or ECOWAS, or, we don't get to see them that much. We're also going to monitor the elections, except going to learn from the system as to how elections are conducted, so that they can bring back those formula to, better their own election process here. What do you make of that, then?
See, when you permit me, you see, when a man's father goes to the marketplace to go and dance naked, he should not find it difficult that people are probably mocking or laughing. You should rather, focus on the core problem. The reason why is that in the time past, we have actually conducted ourselves in an irresponsible manner.
No, even then, did they make any difference?
No, of course.
The European Union who came to monitor our elections, the Americans who came to monitor, the British who came, did they make any difference to our electoral fortune or electoral behavior?
You see, when you conduct yourself in an irresponsible manner, you open up yourself to so many comical relationships. And beyond that, are you aware also that it's your INEC sometimes that sends invitation letter to these international observers? Are you aware that it is your INEC as an institution? Is it that you believe
you can't do it?
You can't do it. That except, or is it the issue of inferiority complex? Probably
it's colonial mentality.
Colonial mentality that you have to invite your colonial masters to come and help you monitor. You are trying to impress the colonial masters to say yes, we are
now civilized.
We are complying. I think we need to get out of that mindset that we do not need them. We should be able to sit down and monitor ourselves and conduct our elections and let them pick whatever they want to pick from the global, the same way they do. I don't think any, American institutions will invite Nigerians to say, please,
they will not even invite Canada or Europe.
Please come and monitor our elections.
See what's going on here.
So it's a question of mindset. It's an insult. It's a question of mindset, and we need to get away from that mindset.
No, the question is actually that they have not really determined anything.
Yes.
They've not made us less violent or more violent. They only come here to do a job.
And to add to what you are saying, they select where they go to.
When there is violence, they run away.
They see, with intels at their disposal, they know where they shouldn't go to. They know where they cannot go to. They select, most times it's in the urban areas. They come to Ikeja, Lekki, Victoria Island, and you go to Kano, Abuja, and all the rest of them. You can take 3 hours a boat ride into one...
into Burutu. They go to Burutu.
So it's always a selected...